Hello, analysts. Welcome to my channel. This is where we discuss hypothetical mergers between companies, financial products, investments, and how they affect the average American consumer like you and I. So today we're going to discuss what are bonds? What are they? How do they affect the financial markets? How do they relate to businesses, and what is the purpose of them? Well, I know the answers to all these questions, and soon you will know just as much as I know. So the basics what bonds are, they're basically loans made to a business or corporation or entity. Now, why is this necessary? Why would a huge multi-million dollar company need a loan? Well, businesses, they cannot pull money out of nowhere. They need money to run or operate their businesses. Well, let's take, for example, Apple. Let's say they discussed a brand new project that's going to say open 100,000 new Apple stores across the United States. They believe when it's all said and done, this project will result in a profit for Apple for about $9 billion. But let's say they don't have enough money for this project. Let's say they only have about $2 billion for this project, and the cost of this project is going to be at least $5 billion. Well, they need to get this money from somewhere, so what are they going to do? They're going to go and get some bonds. Now, how do they get these bonds? Well, they're going to go to a financial corporation like Bank of America or JP Morgan, because giant corporate entities like Apple and things like that, they don't have the paperwork necessary with the SEC to go and actually straight up sell these things to the average American consumer. That would be direct selling, which very few companies actually have the ability to do. So they're going to go to me, Bank of America, and they're going to discuss the project, and they're going to discuss everything once all said and done. Bank of America agrees to give Apple the $3 billion in loans. And in turn, Bank of America has $3 billion in bonds that they can sell to the American consumer. So they go to me, one of their customers. I'm one of Bank of America's customers. And they say, hey, look, we got these brand new bonds we got issued. We want to go ahead and sell you some. Now, why would I want to do this? Well, some investors think that bonds are a little bit more safer to do than, say, stocks. Now, is that true? It's debatable. Depends on what the project is, the company, the credit rating, all that type of thing. But we'll set all that aside for now. And let's say I agree to buy this bond from Bank of America. So it goes from Apple to Bank of America, and in turn to my hand. Now, the average interest rate on a bond, because just like we have to pay interest on a loan, say on a home, businesses have to do the same thing. Because once again, Bank of America is a company too. They need to make money. So Apple is going to have interest payments they need to make on the loan that they just got from Bank of America. So Apple makes their interest payments, and they give the cash to Bank of America. The interest payments on the bond I just got from Bank of America is about 2%. So Bank of America collects a little bit of the interest payments that Apple owes them, and then in turn, they're going to give the remaining interest payments on my bond that they just gave me and pay it to me. Now, bonds have what we call a maturity rate. This is when the bond is set to pay out, which is usually about $1,000. So this is basically at the end of the 2-year time span. Bank of America has to give me the face value of the bond, which is basically what the bond is worth. And in between all this time, bond payments are done twice per year most of the time, and I'm going to collect interest payments on those. So with an interest payments of, we'll say 3%, I'm getting $30 roughly every 2 years, roughly. So at the end of the 2 years, my value of this bond is going to be $1,060. So I paid $1,000 for the bond, and when it's all said and done, keep in mind this is just the basic, guys. I'll break it down more into mechanics in later videos. My bond is $1,060. So not only did I make a profit off of this bond, but I just increased my portfolio with straight cash, because keep in mind, this is a loan. And Bank of America does this for thousands of their customers, because keep in mind, they have 3 billion bonds they just got from Apple from giving Apple the cash. So they have lots of bonds to sell the American consumer. That's going to increase the average American stock portfolio. Now, there's different types of bonds in the world, And the US also issues bonds as well. What are those type of bonds? Those are called US Treasury bonds, which are some of the safest investments you can do is with a government. Now, does this mean the bond can't default? Now, see, just as we have financial trouble, businesses are going to have financial trouble. Let's say that financial, project Apple wanted to do, it totally falls short. Let's say the project, it just didn't work. The contractors didn't want to do the job. The store locations they tried picking, just no one went to them, and just the entire project just fell out. So they made absolutely no money off of this project. Well, Apple still has $3 billion in cash they have to get paid out to their lenders. What happens when they can't pay the money back? Well, what happens to you and I? Well, it defaults, meaning no one gets paid. Bank of America isn't collecting interest payments on the bond anymore, so I'm not going to get my interest payments on the bond I bought, and the bond's just going to fall out, and no one gets paid. Well, this can happen with governments as well. Governments don't have endless supplies of money. So when a bond defaults, no one gets paid, it was a bad investment, I lost my money, and everyone loses. Now, this is less likely to happen with government entities, of course, because once again, it's a government entity. But it doesn't mean it's impossible. For example, the US has never defaulted on a treasury bond, but the reason for that is because they usually just borrow more money to pay back the old money. For instance, the U.S. issues $100 million in treasury bonds, for example, and those bond payments are coming due. They don't have any more money. Well, they're a government. They're not a business. They just go get another $200 million in loans to pay off those first $100 million in loans, which is why the U.S. has never defaulted on a bond. Doesn't mean they can't, but this is just what's happened throughout the years. Now, another type of bond, which is the riskiest type of bond you can buy, is called a junk bond. Now, what's a junk bond? A junk bond is what we would call a bad bond. This is how there are bad investment products and services. This is the same case with business loans. If a bank, for example, sells me a junk bond, the bank is basically letting me know, hey, look, this is a risky type of lender we gave this money to, but the interest payment is going to be higher. So the average interest payment is, say, 2 to 3% on my average bond. The interest payment on this junk bond is, say, going to be 7 or 8%, which sounds amazing for me. Wow, I'm going to get $70 basically every twice a year up until the bond matures. But not so fast. A junk bond means it has a higher rate of defaulting. So let's say J.P. Morgan has a financial product or project they want to do, and they issue me a junk bond. This is the J.P. Morgan bond. But they say, hey, look, we're not really sure how this project is going to turn out. There's a high chance this is going to default, and we're just letting you know now. No, that's going to be iffy for me. It sounds like a really sweet deal, right? 7% on an interest payment? That is amazing. But they're letting me know, though, hey, there's high likely you're not going to get your money, but hey, it's still worth you grabbing. Yeah, once again, it's a risk management assessment approach, guys. Junk bonds are bonds that have a higher chance of defaulting, but the interest payments are going to be higher. And it's one of those things people have to take a risk management approach to. And once again, that is the basics of what a bond is. Thank you, and welcome to my channel.